installing base R. So I recommend going to this website, and I'll show you exactly how to get there. So please follow along if you do not have it already. So if you put this in, you're going to choose your operating system. Mac is more self-explanatory, so I'm going to just choose Windows real quick. So if you have a Windows machine, you'll then go into base, and then I recommend choosing the most recent one. In past classes, I recommended an earlier version because it works better with our Oracle if you're going to do database work. I am amending that because now the older version will not work very well with other functions, and it will break a lot of your code. And then to work with databases, I'm not sure if that has been fixed or patched. That our Oracle issue, I'm assuming it probably has been. If there are other packages that work really well with databases that you could use instead. So take whatever the newest version is, click on it, and then it's going to download onto your system. Just as anything else you've ever installed, just click next, 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 and then finish. And you don't have to change any of the different areas in, or change any of the settings. So I recommend just going with the default. So you would go in through there, and this is showing you exactly what it would look like on a Mac. And I just showed you what it would look like on Windows. So on the Mac, you would just choose our latest. And this is exactly what I just said. Just click next, 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 and finish. So before I move on to our in RStudio, the difference between base R and RStudio, I want to explain this. If there are any questions about this, I know the last time I explained it, there were. So base R is, you have to have it on your machine to use RStudio. Base R, no matter what you do, it's going to be the back end of the working with R. So anything that you do in RStudio is actually on the back end running base R. The RStudio is, you can think of it as an interface that is easier to use than base R. Base R doesn't have autocomplete. You can't see and click on your data sets to open them very easily. You are not going to be able to look at files while you're in there. The help menu is not as easy to use. So RStudio makes everything a lot easier. But when you use RStudio, it is using base R on the back end. So keep that in mind. So that's the difference. Are there any questions about that? Because I know it's kind of confusing. And again, please don't put questions in the chat. I will not see them. I'm in here. Just unmute.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if you have an older version of R installed?
Okay, it depends what version. So what I've been finding, because I used to use 3.4 because it works well with our Oracle. I actually did that recently, and I had to get the newest version on my R, because the older it is, most people update packages and they'll only work on a newer version. So for instance, I was doing mixed models at work. It's a statistical model. I had an older version. I tried to get the package and it came up and said does not work on 3.4.4. So certain packages that are, say, optimized to a later version will no longer work on your computer if you don't download that new version. There's usually a way to go online and then find an older version, but it's not particularly easy. So that's kind of up to you. Most things will work. Any base R packages will work, but some won't, and it will break some code. So that's kind of the difference in the versions. The later it is, the less of those problems you're going to see. The really crappy part, when you have an old version on your computer and then you update it to, say, the latest version, you have to install every single package again on your computer. So that's the really annoying part about all of it. You have to redo all work. So are there any other questions about this? Okay, great. So I'm going to just show you real quick where RStudio lives. I recommend using this and not using base R to learn how to code. It would be very difficult to learn to code in base R, in my opinion. So you just go here, go to this website. I'm going to be using RStudio desktop, this free version here. You're welcome to use the cloud server. I'm not going to show that how to use that in my class, but they're very similar. But you do need internet access to use this one. This one you do not. So RStudio desktop, you would just click download and you would follow all the instructions. I believe if you go here, it's going to take you down to the bottom. For Windows, you would click this. For Mac, you'd click this, and then it will download it onto your computer, and then you click next, 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 finish, just like the other. So hopefully that is pretty straightforward for you guys. Are there any questions about that? Like I said, there are tutorials on here. So say you did not understand what I went over, go to this tutorial, go to R programming. You'll see a whole bunch of all these topics I'm going to go over today, actually. So this is the one that I went over in the first slides. This installing base R in RStudio. It has all the information I just went over and screenshots to show you how to get there. So if you didn't understand what I just said, just go here and it will really clear that up. So